What's up, everyone? Welcome to another BRAP. It's a glorious Wednesday. We are back. We have a great show in store for you guys. I gotta say, I love the intro, but the compression on StreamYards is booty compared to doing it from OBS. So, I'm almost half tempted, Forte and B, to go back to what's it called, to Streamlabs, only because like you can't do anything with the compression, with Streamlabs. So you're
Oh, yeah,
limited in
go
what you
back
can
to
do.
Discord, you mean?
Yeah, to go to Discord. Yeah, because the video's fire, man, but just the compression looks terrible. It's all, I don't know. I was talking to graphic Jay about that. He's like, yeah, it's a compression with Streamlabs. You really can't do anything about it. I was like, oh, joy. So anyhow, we are live.
What's more important, the look or the podcast actually?
Oh,
slow mo.
I'm just saying.
Why are you slow mo?
I can't control. It'd be great. It's nice that people can look at some really nice graphics while they're listening to us talk about the show. But then, if the show can't happen, then it's like, what are we doing? How can we have a show if
look, you're not lying, man. You bring up a great point.
Yeah, because what was it last week that you
last
had
week?
Issues?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And we were able to keep going. If we were on Discord, show would have ended.
Show would have been in the bushes.
In the bushes.
Yeah, that's true. Well, everyone, we have a great show for you guys, and in this video, we're going to discuss how Twitch abruptly permanently banned popular streamer Dr. Disrespect, and why Twitch has been so vague about it. And we also have some rumors that Dr. Disrespect might be teaming up with some former Twitch streamers, maybe Ninja and Shroud. Don't know how much of that rumor I believe, but if it did happen, can't say I'd be surprised. And we know that Microsoft's not going to have a June-related Xbox event, which we'll talk about. They're gearing up for a big July event and a Xbox Lockhart reveal in August. We'll talk about those things as well. But first and foremost, I want to introduce our special guest, somebody that I've known for a very long time, somebody who remembers the glory days of Xbox on the OG Xbox when we used to play games like Unreal Championship. We used to play Rainbow Six, Halo 2. We have one bad mother, OBM. Welcome back to BRAP, sir.
Thank you very much for having me back, Enrique. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, no doubt. It's funny. We've known each other for quite some time. We met on Xbox Live back in the OG Xbox days. So I think it was been like, we know each other for like I guess if you want to round up, almost 20 years now, which seems crazy, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Jeez, man,
it's crazy how back then we weren't even talking about our kids, right?
I wasn't even married. Had no desire to have children. I'm playing my Xbox and having a good time playing online. But hey, man, it's great to have you on, man. And I love your avatar, by the way. A big shout out to Pulp Fiction. I love it.
Yep. Top 5 movies all time for me.
Oh, facts, man. I love that movie. Probably for me at least, Tarantino's best movie, at least for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd put that right up with Reservoir Dogs after that. But anyhow, so yeah, man, great to have you back on the show. And we got my man B Money 101. B, what is going on, sir?
Not much, man. Just ready to get to it.
No doubt, man. And we also have my brother Gaming Forte, the man with the ear on the retail streets. Forte, what's going on, sir?
Oh, what's up, man? Man, just been a crazy week. Just news after news after news, and it's refreshing to actually get closer and closer to being able to talk about all this stuff that's coming out. So, yeah, man, it's Wednesday, middle of the week. Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah. Hey, Forte, I want to say something, man. I really enjoyed your last video, man. It was really good.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man. That was, and thanks Slow Mo, because he put my feet to the fire a week ago. It's like, bro, I'm gonna need you to make a video at least every Wednesday. So I took his advice and like kind of prepped on that video for like the last 3 or 4 days, just fine tuning it and stuff. And yeah, man, I'm happy everybody's liking it. It came out really well, and I'm gonna have to keep that up, man. That consistency is the number one thing that works.
Yeah, I mean, it's I will say this, outside of the great topic that you had about first party Microsoft and talking about Sony first party. The production values in that video were great. I loved how you had the side by side of Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. It was actually pretty cool, and love the music in the background too. So it was an awesome video.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So everyone, by the way, please check out Gaming Forte's YouTube channel. Please do it now. Do it now. Yeah. So on that note, we got also want to introduce my man, the king of the backslaps, Slow-Mo Damas.
What's up, man? What's up? What's going on, y'all?
Slow-Mo, what are my lotto numbers this week, man?
What are my lotto numbers?
13, 34.
Okay.
Some of them, yeah. So yeah, but that's it. That's it. And
Did I got to enter my credit card to get the rest of the numbers now?
I'll take a 10% cut of that. And
hey man,
I just wanted to say you're welcome, Forte, for putting the fire under you to get you to do more videos. That's the kind of content I want to see from you, sir. Just speak your mind, man. People want to hear you. And when you do that and you're not on tripping off of Destiny shrooms or something, then you actually are saying things that make sense and people love to hear it. So just keep it up, man.
Did you say he's on Destiny shrooms?
Destiny
dude,
shrooms.
Every time he's like all in on Destiny, it's just like his thoughts just get all jumbled up. He starts saying crazy stuff like Xbox is coming out in September. Xbox is going to outsell PlayStation. Stuff like stuff like he's I don't know. It's wild. And it's like whenever he does it, I'm just like, what? Forte probably been playing Destiny all day.
You want to know something that I realized that Snowball been saying for a while now? He was like, every time I see Destiny gameplay in your video, I know I'm in for a rough time. and that's probably why he didn't say anything, because usually if he sees any type of Destiny video or any type of gameplay, he'll be like, I'm turning this video off. And there was no Destiny gameplay in that video, so that's why he gave me that showering praise. Shout out,
man! I shared it on Twitter. I was like, watch it, man. Look, there's no Destiny in it.
Hey, you know what's funny, man, is that I was full on expecting some Destiny gameplay.
I had to fight against it, man. But you know what? Guess what? The gameplay at the end took the Destiny play, which was shout out to Metro Exodus, man. I'm about 75% through that game. It's so amazing. Especially
in all that ray tracing glory.
Especially with ray tracing, taking my frame rate.
Forte, how's it? It shouldn't be taking your frame rate, man.
No,
what are you getting? Like 60?
I know I'm getting like 93.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
93 with 1440p, 34 with ultra wide, 34 inch.
Woo! Oh my god,
it's beautiful, bro.
Doesn't it look beautiful, man? Yeah, it's it's funny. I played it on the Xbox One X, played it on PC when one of the first games I played on my PC when I first got it, and I just remember being blown away. Like, holy shit, this is like night and day. Even some of the particle effects are much different on the PC version.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I remember there's one scene when there's a storm that hits, and you're sitting on the track and there's like the sun. You know what I'm talking about? And it's like I'm like, whoa, like it blew my mind. I'm like, this is not how it looked on the Xbox One X. Like the Xbox One X had like a stick flying, a little bit of rain.
Felt like you was in a monsoon on PC.
Maybe a stick, Slow-Mo. Maybe one cloud. Maybe one.
And those Jaguar CPUs was like, you want sticks?
Yeah.
You want stick? We don't give you sticks. You get one stick.
And that stick looked like it was baked into the screen,
Oh yeah, man.
I played the PC version. It was like you said, Forte. It was like a monsoon. It was like full on particles. I'm like, Forte, did you put? I don't know about you, man. I put the controller down and I just sat there and I
did that a couple of times.
Yes,
a couple of times, and I got everything turned, texelation, everything turned up, like everything maxed.
Oh my god, I'm horny right now.
Pretty. Oh, and shout out to DLSS. Shout out to DLSS. It really does help your frame rate when you're running everything.
Yes, big shout out to DLSS 2.0, which like Slomo and I've been saying for a long time. We've been next gen before there was next gen, right, Slomo?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, me and some of the stuff you was doing in your video, I gotta talk to you about some things. I'm not saying I'm trying to copy. I kind of want to copy what you.
Slomo wants to. How did you get those dual screens up?
I know
Slomo saw that before.
I know how I could do that with my software. I know how to do that already. It was just some of the transitions. I wonder, was that something we can get into the weeds on?
Are we talking about? Are we talking about the transition in Gears of War when it goes from that fire into the other gameplay?
That and a couple of other ones, but we'll talk because we already got to talk about thumbnail stuff, and we don't want to bore the audience.
Wait, Forte, real quick, what program are you using for videos? Because my wife got me a program that I use. What are you using? Adobe
Audition. Yeah, I'm not Adobe using Premiere.
Yeah, I'm not using Premiere. I'm using
you can do it in anything, bro.
I'm using Movavi, which my wife got me. She got it from someone at her work hooked up with, I don't know, something, but I got it for free basically.
Reach out to Ryan. Ryan has a
who's Ryan?
Oh no, I forget his name's not Ryan anymore.
Big Cloud.
Big Cloud. Yeah, I still.
What'd you call Slow? Big Cloud or what?
Bito Cloudo Gamio.
Bito Cloudo Gamio. Yeah, reach out to him. He can give you a free code to Adobe Audition.
I mean, is that legal? Can we?
It's legal.
Saying that on the air?
No, who cares?
Yeah, I don't. Okay,
nobody.
Let's get the show because we about to start talking about illegally streaming.
Yeah,
movies
we'll talk more later. We'll talk. Adobe. Don't even think about what I just said. I pay for it, so I'm good.
I just want to say there's a big disclaimer here. The BRAP does not support the piracy of any sorts. We do not share the opinions of some of the panel members here in terms of getting free things.
We got the FBI in the chat. Look, I don't know them. I don't know anybody. And how did I get here? What is going on?
I don't know. What I didn't say
anything. Open and shut case, Johnson.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, yeah, we'll talk about that off air. But on that note, guys, look, tomorrow we're going to actually do a BRAP spoiler cast on The Last of Us Part 2, which I finished, Eric's finished, Slomo's finished. I know Forte and B Money, you guys are still going through it. OBM, you haven't started yet, but you're starting this weekend. So it's going to be me, Slomo, Eric. We're going to have Eric Cuts for the win. We're also going to have Al, the drunk cat, is going to be joining us, and we're going to have Jay Barry as well. So it's going to be an awesome panel. It's going to be tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you definitely don't want to miss that. Again, it is a spoiler cast. If you have not played The Last of Us Part 2, do not show up in the live chat saying, "Oh, you guys spoiled the game for us." It is a spoiler cast. You have been warned. One. What's that?
It's going to be at least one.
I know.
That's why I said you said that. Oh man, I not finished the game.
I haven't picked up my copy yet. Yeah, no. By the way, speaking of The Last of Us Part 2, to me it's a masterpiece. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. But I think it's one of the best games I played this console generation. And by the way, I have 2 copies. Well, actually, I bought the game 3 times. I forgot. Well, one, I got the digital copy because my GameStop wasn't doing the 9 p.m. release. Forte, did you guys do that, by the way, Forte?
Nope, nobody did.
Okay, so yeah, they didn't do it, so I couldn't pick it up. But I pre-ordered it there, and I pre-ordered it from Best Buy. I forgot about that, and then got 2 copies mailed to me of the special edition. I haven't opened either one of them, so I was trying to give away a free copy of the special edition of The Last of Us 2 if we got to 2,000 subscribers. We are close. We're about 20 subscribers away. So please, guys, if you're new to the channel, if you're listening, you're new, hit that like button, subscribe. Which I would love to give away this special edition. Now it's I will ship it. I'll pay for shipping, but I'm only shipping to or only eligible to those that are U.S. residents because shipping anywhere else is probably mad
What if I was to tell you that there's a good chance that collector's edition is still at my store?
You're talking about the Ellie collection.
Yeah.
Oh, Forte?
It was,
sir.
It was still there when I haven't worked in 2 days, but it was still there when Forte, I was up there yesterday.
Forte, I need you to get off the show right now.
Hop in your car. Right now we're closed.
But you got the key, sir. You run the show.
I can't ring it through.
You go in there, Forte. You put a lockbox or something. You I don't know. You take it home with you.
Oh, I can't take it home with me. I can't take it home.
You know what, Forte? I completely forgot you because you said you gave that.
I will get up in the morning and I will call my store because I'm off tomorrow. And if it's still there, I will go get it. Forte,
I will. Yes, we got to talk, dude. That would mean a lot to me because I've been searching everywhere. I've never been this into a game, and I want that collector's edition because I feel like this is one of those iconic games that's going to be remembered well after this generation's over. So, yes, I want that big time. So I appreciate that, Forte. Predator H2O says, "I'll take it and save you some time." No doubt, Pred. So anyhow, so I want to go to the first topic of the evening. Dr. Disrespect, who everyone knows, popular Twitch streamer, has been banned from Twitch before. He did something like crazy in a bathroom, right?
Yeah, he recorded himself in the bathroom at E3.
Yeah, at E3. Yes, at E3, he recorded himself, which that's kind of weird. Yeah. So anyhow, he has been officially banned from Twitch, and this thing really came out of nowhere. Like I felt like it was kind of it's kind of been a not slow news week, but kind of slow, right? Because we're in the middle of the summer and everything's more pandemic focused, I think, than anything else. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, I am not visiting the beaches of Florida. And Slow-Mo, I would stay away from the beaches of Delaware, apparently, too. But yeah, so Dr. Disrespect. Go ahead. What are you gonna say, Slow-Mo?
No, I mean, you said that stay away from the beaches of Delaware as well. What happened there?
Yeah, they're saying if you go, all right. So here's this: if you've been to Rehoboth or Dewey, they're saying to get tested.
Oh, for skinny dipping.
Okay.
No, they're shutting down the bars now.
Oh yeah.
Ocean City came out and said if you come down here this weekend, you're coming down at your own risk. You know, I'm actually going down to OC. Going to my family has a beach house. We're going down there, but we're actually not going to go to the beach. We're like, fuck that. We're not going to do that. We're going to social distance still and just change the scenery. Change the scenery because we've been here for like a minute in the house. Yeah. So, but we're not going to go to the beach because we had a situation last weekend that I'll tell you guys offline about what happened. But yeah, anyhow. So, all right. So we get the news that Dr. Disrespect is banned from Twitch, right? Twitch is kind of very, I don't know, keeping kind of people in the dark, not really giving us a specific reason why. Mm-hmm. And since then, Dr. Disrespect has replied. He did say, and I'll read his tweet real quick. He said, Champions Club, Twitch has not notified me on the specific reason behind their decision. Firm handshakes to all the support during this difficult time. Okay. And there's I guess, not insider, but somebody who commentaries on esports, or he's an esports journalist, you say, Rod Breslau, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And he tweeted something related to the ban of Dr. Disrespect. His tweet, he tweeted that the reason for the ban is not DMC related, and that his sources have told him the reason, but he's not comfortable sharing it publicly due to the sensitivity of the subject. He says, look, for several hours now, I've been told from credible sources the reason Dr. Disrespect has been banned. However, due to the importance and sensitivity around the subject, I have refrained from going on it. I don't feel comfortable with it currently. So there's a lot, and there's rumors going around that he's going to be getting together with Shroud and Ninja and some kind of adventure, some other streaming adventure. But again, that is more speculation right now. There's a lot of theories going out there right now. Like some people are saying that there's something criminal in nature, that maybe I've even read that maybe the FBI is involved. Again, these are theories. But who knows what that could be. There's another theory that says maybe Twitch is cracking down on, toxicity on the site. And then there's that theory that he's going to be getting together with Ninja and Shroud to do their own streaming service, or I think there was another streaming service out there. I forget the name of it. I can't remember, maybe Brime or Bream or something like
Brime
that.
is
Brime. Yeah. Thank you, Forte. They were thinking about doing that, collaborating together and going over there. So who knows? We don't know. I think it's really odd that we haven't heard anything, but I want to go to our guest this evening, OBM, One Bad Mother. What are your thoughts on this, man? Like, don't you think this is very odd that Twitch really hasn't given us a specific reason as to why they permanently banned their, what I would say is one of their biggest streamers or attractions to that platform?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's the tough part about this particular topic is that the rumors are so far apart. It's everything from, he took some of the wrong steps to start a new business, to things that are, a lot worse than that, right? Things that maybe are more related to him taking pictures in the bathroom and things, and maybe worse than that. So I do think the timing of it is interesting because, obviously we've seen a lot of things happen in the industry over the last few weeks in regards to people coming out regarding, a lot of misconduct, and so, we're seeing the corporations all, I think now trying that were passive on that, trying to get ahead of it. So if I were to be try to be a conspiracy theorist, I might think that it was tied to something like that maybe it was a situation where, hey, Twitch doesn't want to get accused of, allowing, inappropriate misconduct and things like that, and be in the crossfires like Microsoft was here recently, like you see with Insomniac and, some of these other companies. So that's kind of what I think it is. It would be good. It would actually be, I think, a positive if we found out that a lot of powerful streamers are trying to start a new service, because I still think competition in that industry is going to be a good thing, and Twitch can kind of rest on their laurels right now. So it'd be great to hear that, but unfortunately, just kind of looking at the timing of it, I'm assuming it might be a little bit more, a little bit more negative.
Yeah, it's a great point, man. I think, the timing of it, like you said, like it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of stuff that, like, we were going through, I think, a couple days where I think, was it someone related to Bungie? Forget who it was. Slow-mo and Forte, you probably know. That was accused of some misconduct.
Oh, you mean not necessarily working for Bungie?
No. I'm sorry. I meant Destiny. I'm sorry. I meant Bungie. Yeah, Destiny content. My bad, guy.
It's not just one now. There's multiple Destiny content creators that have been.
Destiny's that meth. That's what happens, man.
Well, yeah, it's I think
you got Missy Keith Forte.
The guy's name is Say No to Rage
and Luminosity.
Luminosity, but it's just there was like this Luminosity was involved in like a ring of guys that were doing things like that, and so he's not the only one, and it's not even just really the Destiny community. I don't want to single them out.
It just started there. That's what
it just started there.
Started there.
This is unfortunately it's a bad, terrible aspect of society in general. That's why you see it in so many different industries and so many different communities, regardless of what the focus of that community is, whether it's video games, movies, whatever. I mean, like I was just seeing that Josh Whedon from director of the Avengers, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
That just came out today, right?
Yeah, and all the stuff that he was doing, and it's just, it doesn't matter what industry it is. If it's entertainment in general, if there are people out there that devote a lot of their time to it, that there are going to be people who are going to take advantage of others that they feel they have a power dynamic with, where they have all the power or more power than the other people, and they can feel like they can try to abuse that. So it is what it is. It's really unfortunate. It sucks, and I'm so glad that people are really out there starting to expose it. But sorry, let me go off my soapbox. I don't want to.
No, I mean that's interesting, man, because there's been a lot of that going on recently, and there's a lot of movements going on right now within our society, and you bring up a great point, Slow-Mo. I almost called you Forte, but and maybe perhaps like that theory of Twitch trying to clean up their what's going on in their own house. Maybe that has something to do with Dr. Disrespect and his conduct more recently. Who knows? I mean, we know about the ban when he took a pictures of himself, or when he recorded himself in the bathroom, whatever the case was at E3. Maybe something else happened, and there is something in terms of context to what you guys are talking about. There was somebody tweeted at your Starling, and I don't know who she is, but she said, "I'm sick of being quiet." The CEO at Twitch was asked in an all hands meeting about partners using their platforms to abuse women, specifically using my case as an example. So she's a partner on Twitch. He chuckled and said, "Wow, the things that go on our platform, can't really comment," and moved on. So. I mean, maybe there's something there as it relates to Dr. Disrespect, but who knows? I mean, obviously, I think we'll find out as time goes on. But B Money, I want to rope you in the conversation real quick, man. What are your thoughts about this?
I mean, I think all of it's crazy. I think when like the whole Me Too movement started, I told you guys that this was going to happen. I mean, this is not something that's excluded to the movie industry or video game industry. This happens literally at any place of business. Every place of business has a code of conduct, and there's creeps out there everywhere. So regardless if it's a male or a female, there's things that go on in a place of work that shouldn't go on. And now I think a lot of people are feeling more comfortable, especially with everything else that's going on in the world, to actually come out and speak out about things that have happened to them. And, I applaud them for that, because I think for so many years, people who come out, they always are questioned if, if they're telling the truth, or if they have a motive behind, the reason why they're coming out. So I feel like now, I think it's the right time for a lot of people. I think they feel a lot more confident just because everybody else is speaking out about so many other issues that are going on.
Yeah, it's a great point, B. I mean, like Slimma mentioned, like Joss Whedon was, there were some things that came out about him. I don't know if it was it today. I think Slimmo. I don't remember.
It came out today, but some of it was like due to the current climate right now, it's being amplified. Some of the information that came out about him was known like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. And then some of it was kind of like brought out there, but the way the climate was different, that people weren't being believed. It kind of just got like, he used to be at one point really beloved for the work that he did. He's a talented director and producer and writer.
Yeah, I mean, he did like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that TV show, whatever.
Yeah, Firefly.
Yeah, I mean, he's praised for those
directed
things.
The first Avengers movie. Like he's done really good work. But then over time, you start to see things like the biggest thing that popped up was I think his guy's name's Ray Fisher. He was the actor that played Cyborg in the Justice League movie. He came out and started to really discuss Josh's behavior on the set of the Justice League. And that just kind of started the avalanche of like other behavior coming out, things that he said to Gal Gadot about she didn't like the rewrites of some of his lines, and he apparently said something to her to the effect that he could get the Wonder Woman 2 sequel canceled if he wanted to. Just things like that. His behavior was real suspect.
He's on a fucking power trip, man.
Yeah, massive power trip, and that isn't the first time I've heard about things like that. I was a big fan of Buffy back in the day, and if you remember Seth Green, like he was in.
Yeah, he was in Buffy.
He was also he got his big movie debut on I think it was the Austin Powers sequel.
Yeah, Austin Powers. Yeah.
So like this guy gets
Scotty.
a big break, and Josh is very famous for being upset whenever any of his actors like do things outside of his show, and not because he doesn't want this. He doesn't want them to succeed. He don't really care about that. It's that them having other work disrupts what he's doing on his show.
Yeah.
So he had all this stuff planned for that season. Seth is doing movies. Now he's getting popular. He wants to do other work. And Josh is like, what about my show? And it's just like, I mean, he pretty much gave him an ultimatum. You do that, you're out.
Wow.
Or, you know, like it's just things like that. Or like there's another actress, and this guy's supposed to be a feminist, and there was an actress that was on Buffy, and then she moved to his sister show for that called Angel, and she got pregnant, and he basically fired her.
Wow.
He wrote her out the show because she got pregnant, and it messed up his plans for that season. So you know, it's when people get in positions of power, they don't really they stop seeing reality for what it is. They stop seeing the world as the rest of the people see it, and a lot of their hang-ups, their weaknesses just get amplified, and it just hurts a lot of other people, a lot of people's careers, and you know, and emotionally just really messed up.
You know what's some of the point, I think Forte, you were about to comment. You commented in a sec, but you know what's interesting, man. You bring that up. I actually am friends with somebody from high school that went to UCLA, wanted to get into Hollywood, actually got into Hollywood, and she wouldn't give me any names, but I remember talking to her one time, and she was like, she got out because she was like, it's a really fucked up place, like a lot of bad. And the person she was working for, who had been in the industry for about, at that time, and this is, you know, this goes back 20 years. You know, the time, this goes back to like the, like late 90s, early 2000s, and the person she was working for had been in the industry for 20 plus years and had some success. And you know, I never forget the story. She said that this person just got off the phone, was crying hysterically, and basically said, "Hey, look, you know what? It's not worth it. You'll lose your soul. Get out." Like she said it's a bad place. And so like when you hear those things, like when you hear what you just talked about, Slow-Mo, those things, I mean, I don't want to say it's all forms. I guess, I don't know. Like, I wonder if it's all forms of entertainment. That, I mean, look, that shit happens everywhere, right? But it absolutely is. Is this like this cancer culture of like bad shit in like gaming? We know about the guys at IGN now. We know people coming out that are journalists, that are streamers that have been harassed or been mistreated. We know about the music industry and the movies. I mean, is this kind of like it's not just an entertainment thing, but I feel like it's even more amplified in the entertainment space.
It's any position of power, whatsoever. If you are a bad person and you're in a position of power,
you mean like President Trump?
Yeah, and it's just like they abuse that position. They do things that are only solely for their own gain, and it's messed up, but it happens everywhere. And I'm sorry. Go ahead, One Bad.
Yeah, go for it.
No, I was going to say, I mean, we're right now everybody's focused on the gaming industry, and it's interesting because the gaming industry is very social, and we put a lot of stuff out there. So it gets a lot of the headlines, but really, if you talk to any, not talk to minorities and women who kind of work their way up into corporations over 20, 30 years, and you kind of hear some of the shit they've gone through, this isn't really something that's brand new. The only thing that's new right now is the way people are reacting to it. And I think what we've figured out, or at least what some people have figured out in entertainment and in gaming, where you got more of an audience, is that really the only power that you have to kind of, because really it's just a power struggle, right? Like, as long as you don't have the power and HR can sweep it under the rug, they're going to do that. And if nobody knows about it, just like, it's kind of interesting, like nobody read Millie's emails until he posts on he posts on so for everybody to see it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, now we see your emails. We'll get on that, right? It's really just about and again it goes. This isn't exclusive to any corporation or industry. It is a power thing, like you guys have been saying, and some people in the chat have said. And I think what people are figuring out is the only way to counter that is to potentially damage the brand of these corporations and companies. And as soon as the investors see that, then they're like, oh shit, we got to do something, because if something comes out and it damages our brand, that's going to cost us billions of dollars, right? And so I think that's what you're seeing now, and that's why, why we're seeing now some people pulling advertising off of Facebook, why Twitch is responding. I think people have finally figured out this is really the only way that we have to to counter that power. And this is where we have power, is saying that, hey, we're gonna damage your brand if you guys don't do something different about it. So I think Twitch has seen what's going on, and they're probably now opening up their closet and going, okay, we got to clean some shit out of here. And I'm guessing that's exactly what happened with I
think you may be right. They could very well have swept something under the rug with Dr. Disrespect that they have known for a very long time, and they're looking at everything that's been going on right now, and they said, hey, if this comes to pass, it's going to put us in a very bad light, considering we already knew. So let's just go ahead and get rid of him. And then maybe that's why he doesn't really know what it was, because it wasn't something that he did recently, and it may have been something that he thought was already passed on and done and gone. To one bad's point, money does seem to be the only motivator to make things happen, because money is the reason why they didn't do anything about it whenever these companies, these, like, whether it's big Hollywood studios or a gaming publisher or a streaming platform, money is the reason why they don't do anything about it in the first place, because they want that money to keep coming in. The person that's doing these kind of things is bringing money in. They don't want to disrupt that. But then people stop watching, people start boycotting it. That starts affecting the money. Money's the reason why they cancel these people. And it's all this talk really brought up the fact that I actually know a guy. He's a really talented actor, and he met Denzel one day, and was actually Denzel helped this guy get his career off the ground. He was an American Gangster with him. I'm not going to say his name or which person he was in. He's been in other stuff, but he probably spent maybe about a good 3 or 4 months in those circles, and he just quit. So he was done. He didn't do any more acting until I think he was in Luke Cage, the Netflix series Luke Cage, the first season.
So Luke Cage,
right? but this. Just like him,
Rosario Dawson, okay?
he may know her.
No, I'm saying her, Slomo.
I don't know her, but
apparently know her well.
The stuff that this guy was like, he didn't want to get into details, but he just kept talking about like these people were all messed up, and he had his morals and his he could not look himself in the mirror and be able to live on with his life, knowing what he would have to do in order to get his career where he wanted it to be. So,
you go ahead, Forte.
No, I was just going to say that on both fronts, the reason I think this is so prevalent now, and it's such a huge thing, is because of it started, unfortunately, with the death of George Floyd, and that kind of opened up a lot of people's eyes. And a person dying on camera, it kind of galvanized all walks of life to actually see it, because then it was actually something you could relate to. It was, you could actually relate when you see something that you could just happen to anybody. And even if you are a person that doesn't live in that type of society, it can still happen to your kids. So you kind of galvanize and rally around stuff like that. Same thing is happening with these different, all these people coming out. All it takes is one. Now, the thing is, you have like this perfect storm of one person talked along with other people, and then now everybody feels comfortable in coming out, because the one reason people don't talk is because they feel like they can be ostracized or something like that. They feel like nobody would believe them. They'll feel like it will come off like they're just trying to, put somebody else down. Now that you're seeing all of these different stories come out and the reception that these people are having for saying their stories, that's why a lot of people are getting a lot of headway, and you're just getting like story after story after story, because everybody just feels like they're safe to say what they need to say now. There's pretty much nobody, debunking, with the exception of the Angry Joe stuff. I think that's the only one that anybody truly just kind of fought against.
It's a good point.
That's the only one. But when it comes to Doc, and I'm gonna kind of reference Hogue Law on this, because he did an amazing video. If you don't know who Hogue Law is, Home to the Realm, he actually has a law firm practice here in Michigan, like literally 15 minutes away from my house is where he practices at. And he did a good 32-minute breakdown of, breaking down contracts and stuff, because that's what he does. He breaks down contracts between businesses.
Right.
And,
he has a great channel. Terrible opinions on Mass Effect, but great channel.
Great. Terrible opinions on Mass Effect, because he was on this show talking about it. So
big shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to him. But yeah, definitely go check out his video, because that video has almost 200,000 views on it at this point, because he hit some pretty interesting things. And the number one thing I think he hit is just why everybody is so quiet on this. And the one thing he really went into when he went into those contracts, he was talking about how if there is any type of dispute or anything like that is between Twitch or Dr. Disrespect on himself, they have to settle it privately before they can go to any type of arbitration. That's why you hear this back and forth. It is literally written. He literally pulled up. It's literally written in their terms of services that, any type of disputes have to be done that way before they can even go to arbitration. So they're in that honeymoon phase right now. I think both sides kind of know what's going on, but they can't let on to knowing what's going on. And the fact that when they banned him under the pretenses of it being terms and services, not his exclusive deal terms and services, because he has two different deals. He is under terms and services through Twitch, which everybody is. It's not an exclusive deal you have with Twitch. You just have to, go by their bylaws and their terms and services. So everybody that streams on Twitch has to abide by that. But he also has a separate deal, which is an exclusivity deal that he signed last year when, It
was earlier this year.
Oh, was it early? Yeah, you're right. In February. It was February of this year he signed that. So they didn't speak to that being something that was under fire. So that's why when Hogue was talking about it, he said he don't think it has anything to really do about the whole rumor of Ninja and all them getting together, because that would be a breach of that term. But you never know. He also doesn't think it could be a situation with the police or any type of authoritative thing like that, because they're basically just being too quiet for it to actually be something like that. Now, it could be something on the back end that could be happening, and that is something that I definitely agree to, because you never know. But there's been so many rumors around, especially like I think a couple weeks ago, they came out saying that there was him and a young lady, another very prominent streamer, the one that he actually confessed to having an affair with, is another prominent streamer on Twitch, and that Twitch was trying to keep her identity and everything going on with her safe, but she basically Twitch was paying her. That's what the rumor is. And she came out and said she's asking for more money now. And that's why you kind of see when he does like Dr. Disrespect that does like that kind of in his stream, he does like that, oh, what the heck thing. And then he just completely changes his whole identity, just kind of changed right there on stream, because he saw that come across his phone or whatever it was. And that's why we think it's something that, he kind of knew about, but he didn't expect it to actually go down the way it went down. So I just think right now they're just really in the honeymoon phase of just trying to figure this out. I don't even think we'll ever know exactly what happened here, because it seems like it's nothing, because he had Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is one of his sponsors. he hasn't lost any sponsors, by the way. Mountain Dew actually took down their banner off their Twitch page that has Dr. Disrespect. It's their Game Fuel one. They took it down for like 3 hours and then put it back up. And the one thing that Holmes was talking about, like the only way they usually would do that is if they got reassurances from either Twitch saying that it's not as bad as people think it is, but it's not something that's going to ruin your brand, or B, they know exactly what it is and they're willing to actually stick with Dr. Disrespect and put him back on that banner, knowing that all this is going on. If you look at all these other instances that people are getting like kind of canceled and stuff like that, these sponsors are running like crazy. They're not even sticking around to find out if everything is what it needs to be. Like we were just talking about Say No to Rage and all this stuff. Before he came out with his statement, basically admitting to a lot of the stuff that was being said, half of his stuff already had came off just off public opinion. So it kind of just lets me think like, hey, it's a little bit more to this. And plus that man is represented by CAA, which is the biggest law firm and what's the name in Beverly Hills. I mean, that's like what movie stars and stuff work with. So he got a lot of stuff going on. So they're going to really jostle for a bunch of position on what's actually going on in this case. But yeah, if you want a really good deep dive on what he thinks, because I'm not doing it any justice here, go check out that video, man. It's like 32 minutes long. He really breaks down the minutia of what he thinks is going on, and it makes 100% sense in the climate of stuff that we know right now.
Yeah, that's a great point, Forte. I just, this is really, considering, how many followers Dr. Disrespect has, and it's funny when Ninja went to Mixer, we were talking about Dr. Disrespect and how big he is as a Twitch, streamer, and it just, my only conclusion to this is that something really bad had to happen. Again, we don't know for sure, but what I'm thinking is something bad had to happen. That's a pretty big, for Twitch at least, a pretty big profile streamer to lose on your platform. Yeah. I feel like something really had to happen, something not good. I would imagine.
Let me ask you this though too, because this is something that was brought up too in that conversation. We just had Ninja and we just had Shroud come up available out of nowhere. Twitch probably doesn't have the funds to go after them the way they want to, because they just did this multimedia. They just did a big deal with a bunch of people. Did it with Pokemon. They did it.
Aren't they owned by Amazon though? Amazon's got that big purse.
That don't matter. That don't matter.
That grape drink, baby.
That don't matter. That don't matter when it comes to that budget that Twitch got. Twitch don't own all of Amazon. Amazon owns Twitch. So
Amazon just puts under their couch cushions. Say, "Oh, here's some money."
So, but what's to say that it's an opportunity for them to find, like we were all saying, they've been letting Dr. Disrespect get away with so much stuff because he's been making them so much money that they felt like they had to do that because they wanted to protect their brand. And Dr. Disrespect, up to that point, was the best thing that they had. Now that they have an opening to go after these other people, that's why they were pulling up all of these contract stuff and saying, terms of services, because no matter when you did it, you still violated terms of service. But they can go back and retroly just get rid of somebody under terms of services wherever they want. It doesn't matter.
So you're saying, Forte, is that they were tired of his shit a long time ago. They couldn't get rid of him because Shroud and Ninja left. And now that Shroud and Ninja are available,
they probably trying to clear up some money to go get them back.
But my point,
they may be able to get Shroud back, but getting Ninja back,
I don't
think they're
going to get Ninja back. Because Ninja, they did Ninja bold. They did.
What do you guys think about the conspiracy theory or the theory of that Shroud, Ninja, and Dr. Disrespect get together to start their streaming channel, like their own media channel? Like we know, like LeBron's done something similar like that recently.
I don't think that ever really works out very well, and here's why. It's because just because they are good at what they do does that mean they're good at managing a platform that allows people to do what they do. It's kind of like how
But wouldn't you hire people to do that, Slow-Mo?
Yeah, but then like these are kind of people that you're in charge though, and so like it's like for example, Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player ever.
Michael Jordan
probably the worst NBA executive ever because
he can't evaluate talent because he has jaundice eyes, man. He can't see talent, man. Look, I mean,
well, yeah, you also gotta be at work to actually do that too. But let me not.
How happy were y'all to get rid of him?
I know for a fact.
Real happy for Tay, real happy because he ruined.
How happy were y'all to get rid of him from the Wizards?
Yeah.
Look, man. Let me not.
He set us back, Slow-Mo. You know that.
It's just that, like, if you imagine then these guys getting together and starting their own platform, people will come to it to watch them, but it will be very similar to what happened with Mixer. Is that a percentage of the people didn't leave because they liked the Twitch ecosystem, and it's not just watching a streamer. Typically, people who watch a streamer, they have their favorite streamer on Twitch. They also watch like half a dozen other people on Twitch as well.
Right.
So they also like the bits. They also like the way you sub. They also like the way the whole system works. You go to a whole different platform that does things differently. People just don't really want to learn how that works. What's the equivalent to bits and Mixer? I don't know, and I don't care. You know, it's kind of that deal. And whatever they come up with, you gotta understand that these guys are great at cultivating an audience and doing what they do, playing the games they love to play. We don't know anything about them when it comes to being businessmen, and we know Ninja is smart in in protecting his money and protecting his family. And I think we kind of mentioned this on Scumcast last Saturday about how like it was really smart for this dude to. At the time, people tried to cancel him. He's like, oh, he won't do co-streaming with female. He won't collaborate with female streamers. Well, it's because the community. The one time he did do that, people started rumors that he was having an affair with the female streamer he was doing a collaboration with. So he cut that stuff off. Like he recognized this was a problem. I'm not going to allow myself to get put in a situation where someone can say I did something inappropriate. No, I don't collaborate with y'all. I don't do nothing. I don't do any. And he stayed in his lane, and you don't see any of these allegations coming out about him. So it's not saying that like any of these other people are being unfairly treated or being falsely accused, but he also protected himself for not actually putting himself in a bad situation where he could be weak enough to do something that would end up hurting his money in his marriage in the long run. So that's smart on his part, but that kind of smart business doesn't mean that he knows how to run a business. In a big business, big platform where you need to be securing money to get your business going, to get the revenue you needed to pay things for certain things. What about server space? How do you get the technical aspect of streaming? What resolutions are you going to stream in? How are you going to manage those things when your bandwidth capacity starts to reach critical? He don't know anybody of that stuff because he don't do any of that. The guy just goes, streams and play and shoots people in the face and talks trash to kids and drinks Red Bull. It's like it's a whole different arena, and being great or being successful in one doesn't mean you're going to be successful in another. I think they should just stay in that lane. Like, I mean, he made out big with Mixer. He signed a big contract for 3 years, only had to do it for half a year. Still got his money. That's a W. And he gets he gets out of the Facebook gaming situation that he didn't want to be in. That's another W. Now he can also go anywhere he wants to go, and more than likely these other platforms that are left are going to want him under an exclusive deal to make sure that what happened to Twitch doesn't happen to them. He's going to want to be paid for that. Another W. I think it will be an L for him to go, let me go do something that I really don't have any experience in and try to start my own thing. I don't know.
Well, let me ask something. Do you think? I mean, like we know that Shroud and Ninja were like, no, Facebook you got to pay out our contracts, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like they're signing, but I mean, you got to imagine though, if Facebook drops that bag at the front door and says, "Hey, love," I mean, they might sign, right? I mean, money does talk.
But the funny thing is about that, I would think they would have been stupid to sign that deal with Facebook, knowing they can get all that money back up front. I don't care if the money was still guaranteed through because they were going to honor the contract. But if you have an out, I will take the out because instead of waiting over 3 years to get that money, I can get that money today. So I don't think it had anything really to do with it just being Facebook. I just think a smart business move was take the money now. And if they do
no doubt,
you later, then sign again later.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Forte. Like I think like I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that they're not going to ever sign with Facebook, because I think, like you said, like I agree with you. They took that money up front, and now they can say, hey, Facebook, if you want us, throw that cash at us, But there is another platform that could go after them too, and that's YouTube, right? And I wonder if Google's going to open up that bag for these guys. I mean,
if I was Ninja, that's where I would go.
Yeah, I mean,
you already got 25 million plus subscribers on that channel anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you there, for today.
I've heard that YouTube. I haven't done too much streaming on this platform. I know, Forte, you've done a little bit of it. I don't know exactly how it works that well, but from what I've heard from a lot of people who have done it extensively, they're not all that impressed with it. It seems like Twitch is still the best at it, and Mixer was very good at it, just couldn't really get the people to come watch it.
Foothold, yeah.
Right, and I heard Facebook is really bad with it. And Facebook's also, from what I've heard, kind of cooking the books on views and stuff like that, because just let someone scroll on their timeline
counts as a view.
Yeah, it counts that as a view. That ain't a view.
Yeah, man. Because their timeline, it's like Twitter. If you like upload a video to native to Twitter, it will be playing when you scroll by it. YouTube, Facebook's the same way. If you natively upload to it, it automatically just shows in the video where it's at. So it counts it as a view because the video is actually playing on the timeline instead of something you have to click on.
Yeah, but that doesn't actually get you any. You may be able to use that in your analytics for a while until people start to really like.
Well, I think it does. I think that does actually work for some people because, the hardest thing is to get somebody to click on your video, but when you actually see something playing, and that's pretty much like how Facebook is. My wife, just looking at short stuff on Facebook, like from Instagram or people linked to TikTok and stuff, she'll just go on her Facebook page and she just goes through her timeline. She sees something playing, she'll click on it and see what it's like, and she'll either stay there for a second and watch it all the way through, or she'll just click off of it. So it actually does help to actually just have the video playing natively in the timeline, because it brings more interaction. It's like, oh, you might catch the video at that one point where something crazy just happened and you want to click on it and see what it was. So it does help, but I understand what you're saying. It's still not the best way to count the amount of people that are viewing your content, but that's what they do.
Yeah, but it's like it's not a real view in the sense of, okay, so like in this industry, the gaming streaming industry, when people say my stream got 12,000 views, the implication of that is that 12,000 people, whether they watch the whole thing, but from the time you started your stream to the time you ended, 12,000 people view that, or over time actually went in with the intention of viewing you playing that game or doing whatever you were doing. Scrolling past it on the timeline while you're looking for something else, or while you're just bored and like someone could say, I'm not, what is he playing a video game?
Yeah,
I don't care about that. Yeah. That's so different than, say, on Mixer or Twitch or Facebook, where someone sees your that thumbnail of you and they're like, oh, I do want to see that, let me click on that, and then that becomes a view.
Well,
it's
Twitch
like
does do that though, to an extent. They do that. They do it when you're on the front page of Twitch. That video that's always playing is always one video playing on the front page of Twitch. That counts as a view.
But that only happens to like a dozen people per day.
But if you also go into like your if you go into your follow list, when you click on it, as soon as you hover over a video and stay there for a second, it literally plays the video. It like loads it up in a buffer, and that counts too.
That's a bit different because, and I've seen that on Twitch homepage, when it hovers somewhere, I have the choice to just go past that. But usually when I let it hover there is that I actually do want to hear what this person is saying or watch what they're doing. So that I can understand that being a view because you actually allowed it to stay there. But usually those people who get promoted, because I know a streamer, I've watched a streamer, probably one of my favorite Twitch streamers, and this person, I've watched them from when they only had like 15 people watching to now they're getting like 250 to 300 people watching them per stream. And this person didn't get that kind of chance. That person has been on the front page twice. And they didn't get that opportunity didn't happen for them until they grew their platform, till they were already hitting like 150 people consistently watching them. So it's like it
looked like they took one away anyway, because I'm doing it right now and they took the follow one away where you could just hover over it. It still does it on the home page, but it doesn't do it on the follow list right now. So they could have changed. But no, you're right. I mean, I agree 100%. It's just all these companies are just trying to find. Listen, man, all these companies trying to find a way to gas their analytics. You know, they want to attract more sponsors. They want to just make their they want to sell that
revenue money.
Yeah, they want to sell that revenue money. I mean, and it's a give take relationship, and it's just the fact that Twitch. You're right. People don't want to leave Twitch, go to Mixer, or Mixer's not anymore, but go to Facebook and learn a whole nother. And then when that person, what happens? That's the biggest thing that I think messed up with Mixer. When a person like say Goth or Shroud or Ninja gets off, where are their people going? The rest of the people on the platform aren't entertaining enough to an extent for the people that they feel like they can stay there. They'll just go back to Twitch because they probably got 5 or 6 other people that they sub to over there. And they'll just go back over there. Or most of the time, and I literally seen it, most of the time people have a both. Like if one is like if Ninja is streaming on, because I do it. When Goff is on Mixer, when he was on Mixer, I even do it on Facebook now because I went to Facebook with him. I'll have Facebook up. And then I'll go also over to Twitch and I'll be watching whatever Destiny streamer over there. And I got both windows up and I'm just like, I might have one muted, but I've still got them both up. So it's a lot of people that actually do that. And I think that's the problem that all these other platforms have to kind of address, because unless you're going to take entire directories to another platform, you're never going to get the ROI from just taking one person, because one person isn't what it's all about. Yes, they'll get you that sustained growth day one, but what about the people they play with? What about Dr. Lupo? Like Dr. Lupo blew up because he played with Ninja and them. But since Dr. Lupo stayed over on Twitch and Ninja went to Mixer, what happens if they would have got both of them? You never saw Ninja really co-streaming with anybody on Mixer, but you saw it all the time on Twitch.
And that is what I've said was the major misstep by Mixer, is the management of them not really cultivating the talent and the opportunities that they had. This is how streaming usually goes. Like you have a streamer that you watch, and I do this all the time with the streamers that I watch. Mm-hmm. When they are saying they're about to end the stream, 9 times out of 10, I'm gone before they actually end it.
Yep, same.
And that's a lot of people. You look at the viewership starts to slowly fall.
Yeah,
as they are shouting out whoever they want to shout out, and they say, "Yeah, I'm gonna go host somebody," and that is cool that they host other people, but literally 50% of the people that was watching them at that time are gone. The other 50%, who knows that they're paying attention, or maybe they are actually somewhat interested in the person that they're going to host. But what typically happens is that after they do the hosting, and they're now hosting this smaller streamer who could use that audience. After 60 seconds of hosting that stream, they're almost all gone. So it means nothing.
They go in to drop their emotes and stuff and say, Ninja raid or whatever raid. And once the streamer starts saying thank you to that streamer, other streamer that did it, within a minute of that, all those people, their number just goes down.
Right. And it's unfair to the person that's receiving all those people because it's usually a shock. You don't know what's happening. These people aren't used to having thousands of people watch them. They freak out. They don't take the opportunity well. And then they're too busy thanking. They spend the first 5 minutes thanking people for following. As their follow list blows up and stuff like that, and not actually playing the game. And then people are just like, well, I don't even know. Like, I've been watching now for 5 minutes. What do you do?
Yeah.
So they just don't watch. What's better is actually collaborating with you, co-hosting with some of these people. So then people are there to watch Ninja. They're there to watch Shroud. And Shroud's now playing with this other dude that was like homegrown on Mixer. He's actually pretty cool. He's actually pretty funny. I kind of like him. I'm going to go follow him too. That's how you cultivate that. That's how, as you said, Dr. Lupo got popular because he was playing with Ninja and people got to know him that way. Not, big surprise, here we are, impress us. That kind of pressure people don't really do well with. And that's kind of stuff that they didn't cultivate. They should have had that in the contract. But that's if the people at Mixer actually knew what the hell they were doing.
Oh, shit.
And understood how the platform worked. Because then they would have said, okay, in your contract, we're paying you now. We think having you here in our ecosystem is going to grow it, but it's not going to happen when you're just doing what you normally do. I need you to do what we now see, like that Gathalian's doing for Facebook, trying to help these streamers grow. And so we need you to, and if you don't have the time to do it, that's fine. We will find people for you to co-stream with, but you need to co-stream with someone once a week.
Yeah, and that's why I was sad.
They need to hire you, Slow-Mo.
It's a little high now, but
should have hired you.
But that would have worked because then people would have saw these people and said, "Oh, okay, I like this guy. I'm gonna follow him now. I'm gonna follow these people now." And they didn't do that. So
that's the main reason why I like Goff's. Like, some people said they didn't like him still going over to Facebook. They should have went somewhere else. I said I like that he went there because his personality was always, even on Mixer, was about helping other people stream and grow. And he even did that on Mixer. He co-streamed with people that was just on Mixer. He's doing that on Facebook right now. So it's just, it takes time, but one person can't do it. It has to be, the platform has to like kind of promote it. And that's
exactly, which is what Dizzy was saying. Dizzy said Shroud did that, but Ninja did not. What we're saying is that Mixer should have had that in their contract, so all of them should have did it. Gathalian, Ninja, Shroud, Ewok, all of them.
Right. If we're gonna give you 30 million, you gotta help us build the streamers we already have. That should be part of your contract.
Right.
I do think that Mixer could have done better with better management, and they did have shit management. But I think the one thing that they found out is why, the reason why they didn't just change management and try again is I think they realized that it was a dead. It was
a dead horse a long time ago.
Yeah, it was never going to be what they hoped it would be. And I think as long as PlayStation wasn't going to allow it on the platform, it was always going to be looked at as the Xbox streaming platform. And so for even if you're an Xbox streamer, you're like, well, if I want to be able to reach people on PC and PlayStation, I'm gonna have to do something else because nobody is going to take this seriously unless it's everywhere. And I think Microsoft figured out that PlayStation was never going to give them that Trojan horse on their platform, and at that point it was just dead. I think it was just not well thought out to begin with. Really, buying a platform and try to build it up from the ground up was going to be a damn near impossible, just because you were going to need cooperation from your competitors to make it work, and that was never going to happen.
You know, and before we move on, the funny thing is that people don't really think about how businesses work and stuff. You have a budget that you're given over a physical year. Mixer had a budget. Now, Mixer probably was looking at it, or Microsoft was probably looking at it like, well, we already got these funds allocated to Mixer and the things we need to do on Mixer to help it grow. It's already there, so we gotta spend it. Well, how are we going to spend it? Is there any type of intelligence or any type of technology we can build into it in the short term that's going to benefit us in the short term? Probably not now. It's going to probably take a while. Or let's give it a shot in the arm and go after some really high profile streamers that can make that that can build it a little bit faster. They probably looked at it like, hey, we're going to spend this money anyway. Let's just spend it on and see if we can jumpstart Mixer this way. And it might not be the best way to actually look at how to actually build your business, because it definitely isn't. But they probably looked at it like this is the last opportunity that we're going to give Mixer to show that it's a big enough platform for us to do what we want to do. Because even Phil Spencer came out and talked about how xCloud was going to be a vital piece of what Mixer is. And now they're moving all that technology over to the partnership with Facebook. And Facebook, they say it's big enough to be able to do that for them. So I think this was just Microsoft saying, well, we got to spend the money. Let's spend it this way to see if we can jumpstart Mixer with a shot in the arm by getting these high-profile streamers over. And if that doesn't work, well, we spent the money. We did everything we could. Now let's just close it. I think that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah, I think that the key thing is xCloud and the fact that there was a certain number of daily viewership they wanted Mixer to have to really make it viable for xCloud, where you watch someone playing a game on Mixer, and then because of the integration with xCloud, you could just press a button and then right there on your phone you could start playing that game.
Yep.
I think that is what was the driving force of Mixer, the driving reason why they even made the purchase of Beam in the first place.
Yep.
And it got to the point where they got like, we're up against the wall here. We're a year out from next generation starting, a year out from xCloud being out of beta and a full-fledged part of our gaming platform. Mixer is not anywhere near the percentages that we want. Let's go out and get people that can bring eyes to the platform.
Yep.
That's when they went on their spending spree. And then what did they get out of it? A 0.2% increase. And that's not enough. And they said, look, here we are months away from next
ROI
gen.
Was very low.
Yeah, way low. And here we are months away from next gen. Here we need to make a change quickly, because when Xbox Series X comes out and Xbox Series S comes out, and then we got xCloud being a part of Game Pass, we had a plan for all of this to work together with Game Pass and xCloud, and this piece of the puzzle isn't pulling its weight. So we got to find someone else to do that with. We can't do it with Google and YouTube because they're a competitor, and they will never allow us integration with xCloud. We can't do it with Twitch and Amazon because they're a cloud competitor. They're never going to allow us to do integration with xCloud. But we can't do that with Facebook because Facebook's desperate to get in this arena, and they don't have a cloud platform.
And that just lets you know how, and it's just crazy because it just lets you know how much money Microsoft have, where they could just say, we could just throw $100 million down the drain if we had to. That's pretty much what they just did.
Not even a rounding error.
Didn't even bat an eye. Didn't even bat an eye at it. So that just lets you know that these companies are more than well off. But that's why I just been thinking about that. I was like, look, man, they made one last business decision to save Mixer, and that was buying those streamers, and it didn't work. And they said,
"Great point, Forte. It's a great point, man." Yeah. All right, guys. I want to move on because we've been talking about this. Dr. Disrespect ban, Twitcher, and Mixer for about an hour and 20, I think. But no, great conversation, guys. Big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Please, if you guys have any questions, let us know. And always appreciate your support. And look, so speaking of Xbox, as we talked about Xbox right now, Xbox is going to, they didn't have a June event or any kind of June press release or whatever. I don't know what happened, but if you guys remember, I think it was back in, oh geez, I don't remember now. It wasn't Aaron Greenberg, but it was his boss, the VP of marketing for Xbox or Microsoft.
The guy they got from back from Netflix. Can't remember his name.
He was a marketing for the 360 with Netflix came back, and he basically said that there was going to be, from I think you've talked about this quite a bit, Slow-Mo, that from now up until this was back in May, from May till the launch of the Xbox Series X, every month we get some kind of update or some kind of show, and we got nothing in June. I don't know what happened. We got nothing in June. Apparently, Microsoft was supposed to show off their E3 plans, at least, which I was supposed to be at E3 with B Money and Gaming Fortune.
Jared West is his name.
Yeah, Jared West. Thank you, Slow-Mo. But apparently, Microsoft was supposed to show off the Xbox Lockhart or the Xbox Series S, which we think it's going to be called, at E3, and that's been pushed back to the August event. But what we do know is that there's going to be a July 23rd event, which initially we thought was going to be only first party stuff, right? Which all of us were excited for, right? Rah, rah, rah. First party. We want to see what Microsoft's going to bring from their 15 studios. We want to see some bangers. Yes, I'm going to use that word bangers because that's what I want to see. I just played. It's funny. I tweeted something out this week, actually like 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? I don't remember. The days are starting to blend together now in this pandemic. I tweeted something out saying that I'm super excited about the PlayStation 5 because it's a clean blur. It's a clean break, and it's not from a first party perspective, at least, even second, third party exclusives potentially. They're not going to be maybe held back in terms of game design. And yeah, I got a lot of slack for saying that. What's funny is that when you say those things, it doesn't mean that the Xbox is not going to be good. It just means that for me as a gamer, I kind of like that clean break where you have a new generation, where you have your first party that are going to focus on new hardware. Don't maybe have to make any compromises from a gameplay design perspective. I don't think it's a bad thing, but it doesn't mean that the games on the Xbox are not going to be any good. Anyhow, so July 23rd is going to be the Xbox event where they're going to show first party, but now they're going to show third party. And I'm going to use Slow-Mo because I saw you tweet something, or maybe this was in the Brap DM. You said something to the effect that, wait a minute, they were saying something about first party. Now it's third party. Let's hope they show more first party. I'm probably paraphrasing what you said.
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what I was saying.
Yeah, but sir, I agree with you. No, they didn't. But I agree with you. And it makes you wonder, like, are they holding back on maybe some first party stuff they were planning on showing? We're going to see Perfect Dark. Forza looks fire. We're going to see Halo Infinite gameplay. But I don't know, man. Like, I thought it was kind of interesting. And maybe there was going to be some third party stuff that was going to be shown in June. Maybe they combine it with the July event. Who knows? But I agree with you. I think, Slow-Mo, I think you, like me, want to see more first party than third party, right?
Yeah, and I really wouldn't mind not seeing third party at all, and have the entire show being devoted to first party like they said it was going to be. But I do understand how marketing deals work, and especially considering. Let me get that super chat real quick. One typical Latino, okay, $2 super chat. Disappointed. It's the second half of the month. Not gonna lie, I am disappointed with that too. I am impatient, and I would love. It's July now. Like hit it, hit me with it tomorrow. That kind of feeling, But if it really turns out to be the 23rd, so be it. They probably are trying their best to wait as long as possible. The kind of, with that stare down match they got going on with Sony, where essentially there are things that they don't want to say because they both have price points.
That $600 price point?
Yeah, like no one's doing that, but yeah.
It's not going to be $600
coming out in September. They don't want to say that either, huh?
No one's doing that either.
Oh, okay, Forte, are you still
did you see that rumor that it was supposed to be initially coming out in August?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, that's nonsense.
There was a rumor that the system was slated to come out in August.
No, that's not what that rumor was saying. I don't think. I think there was something else that was saying it was supposed to initially. No, the rumor said that they were supposed to announce announce the Xbox Series S in June, but due to everything going on, they're now going to announce it in August. Not that the system was coming out in August.
Oh, you sure about that? Okay,
I'm fairly certain.
That's exactly. That's exactly what it was.
I'm about to go do some research. I'll be back.
All right, go ahead.
I'm about to put on my detective hat like Slow-Mo does.
Hey, you know,
boy,
go ahead, have fun. I'll go back to what I was saying.
Go gadget.
I understand how marketing deals work, and so if you have, you have marketing for a particular game, you have obligations to that publisher / developer to make sure that you also do your job and market that game. And in lieu of not having a E3 this year, where you would have shown their game on your conference, on your show, your stage, you're going to have to do that at some point. And since they didn't do any of those games in that third party event they had in May, which kind of makes me wonder, like, why did you do that in May? Why didn't you do that in June? Since you didn't do anything in June, really. You could have just had that in June, and maybe you would have got more. Whatever. You may have gotten more bigger names in like Cyberpunk or something like that for your third party show. But regardless, you need to show those games. So I'm expecting seeing Cyberpunk there, whatever else games that they have the marketing for there, but. Overall, okay. I want to see more first party than third party. You said this is going to be your first party show. I better not see, like, you need to have a higher percentage of your first party, or I'll even take your second party published by Xbox Game Studios games, like Tell Me Why in that category as well. But you need to have far more of those games that are being published by you than, say, what Sony had at their show in June, because they only had one show, and essentially you're having two different shows that you were supposed to be splitting up between your third and first party. So therefore, I need to see the games. Okay, so not lowering my expectations a single bit. I don't want to hear this watered down stuff as we get closer to the event. Well, there's gonna be some third party games there. Well, you might see a whole lot of third party there. Well, it may only be like one or two first party games there. Well, hey, look, you're gonna see Halo Infinite. Like, I by the time we get to the show, I don't want that to be it. We're only watching Halo Infinite, and everything else is a teaser. Or once again, no Fable. Damn it! If we go through another show and there's no Fable, the heat I'm gonna have for them is gonna be epic.
Slow-Mo, they gotta show Fable. Like, that's the one thing that the fans want. We all want Fable, and OBM, I know you want Fable because you were on the OG Xbox. Real quick, I get this super chat from Midway Monster with a $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. Says the 1S came out in August. I'm with Forte. Don't gas up Forte like that. No.
Let's go to this article from WCCF.
The 1S was at the start of a new gen. So
no. Let's go to this article. Xbox Series X originally slated for August. Xbox Series S, the form factor likely different. Microsoft's original idea before the world fell into this axis this year was to launch the Xbox Series X in August. Meanwhile, the S would have been released a couple of months later in October. So it seems the plan has always been to hold back the Series S in order to give the X some uncontested time in the spotlight.
To this in the private.
I'm about to leak it right now, sir.
Okay,
this is rumors, right?
I said
by the way,
before it even started. I said
emphasis on the pandemic.
I said the rumor that's going around is that system was supposed to come out in August, and I said September. So everybody's beating me up about saying that. Oh, the X is going to come out.
Here's the problem, Forte, is that you're taking a rumor and then you went and flipped it as everybody beat me up for saying September. It's a rumor. It's not like
it is a rumor, and I'm sticking to
it.
And before the rumor even happened, I said that weeks and months ago that it was going to happen. Just saying.
You said a rumor was going. You said something.
I said in my opinion. I said in my listen.
Put the link in the chat. Put the link in the chat.
I said in my opinion.
Hey, put the link in the chat, please. All right, real quick. I'm gonna go to our special guest.
OB. A rumor as fact.
I want to go. I never said anything was fact. I just said that was.
What are you bragging about? I said September. It's a rumor.
Right. Hey, real quick, Slimo and Forte. I want to go to our guest, One Bad Mother. OBM. Do they need to show Fable? Because you are the you OG Xbox guy. You remember playing Fable? You remember Peter Molyneux when it first came out? I forget what.
Yeah, that was actually when I first bought the OG Xbox, which was that was November of 2001. I remember one of the first magazines that I got after that had Fable on the cover with Peter Molyneux talking about stepping on an acorn and a tree growing. I don't know if you all remember that.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, like your decisions would like have ripple effects in the world. Yes, all that stuff. But what was it called? It was called Project something at the time.
Project Evil. Yep. And that was actually one of one of the top things I was excited about the system. And then we all saw what happened. And it was a good game. Didn't really turn out to be what we.
Not what Peter said. It never really lived up to what Peter had envisioned for the game because of limitations to probably the hardware. But
but which kind of takes me to what I'm hoping for with the next Fable is I think now the technology that exists with the CPUs being better, the ability to actually do some dynamic things using online, being connected online. I think there's some possibilities that it could be, and I would be disappointed if it's not setting the bar in terms of game design or gameplay. And I get they're gonna be using it. It's gonna be on the original Xbox One as well. But I still think there's some things. I was actually having a conversation with a dev that I think as well, and he just kind of threw off off the wall kind of random comment about imagine if they were running AI where every person in open world RPG had separate AI that was being streamed from the cloud, because latency doesn't matter. And so I was like, well, that's kind of a random thing to kind of talk about from a developer. And so it's not he wasn't working on that game, but I feel like there's a lot of possibilities next gen, from because now we are going to be having Series X in the sky. And so yeah, I am expecting innovation. I'm expecting more than pretty graphics. I'd be very disappointed if we didn't have that. But I'll also say, me personally, I don't have any tempered expectations. I'm going into the July 23rd show with high expectations and pretty positive about it. They have a lot of talented people. They do got the bags now from Microsoft, and what we're going to see in July is really, it's not just about the first party. It's really a rebooted vision of what Xbox is, because this is a division that's been under the thumbs of Windows up until about 2018. We know Windows took over in 2006, and after a couple of years, we saw it became very uninspired and very Windows-looking platform. And we saw that in 2013. I think this is really the first time they're going to pull back the curtains and say, this is what the new vision is, not just with what our first party is going to be, but also what our services, what the platform is going to look like. So I would expect them to try to sell that with innovative features, just like they did when they launched. Remember when they launched Xbox Live, and you had voice chat that brought everybody, and then you remember Halo 2 matchmaking. that was something that was like, I remember the first time I sat in the party and then we all moved over. I was like, holy shit, what just happened here? And it was like those things got people talking, and that's what drove people to the platform. And that was a vision from a gaming division. When Microsoft started their gaming division in like 2000 or whatever, when they started to put it together, they had a bunch of gaming people that were working autonomous from Microsoft. Bill Gates was scared of Sony at the time, and so they gave them, Blackley and all those guys a bunch of money to go stop them. and really they had that autonomy until about 2006, and then I think we saw a very boring Windows oriented gaming company. We saw what that vision was like, and that wasn't anything I think any of us would have been interested in staying with for another generation. But I do think that we're going to see some good things here, and I think in terms of the timing, they just really need to have their show and their shit together. They have to get it right. It's not. I don't think a few weeks is going to make a difference. So.
Yeah, you know what's interesting, OBM. You talk about what Peter Molyneux's vision of Fable, and it's funny. I didn't even think about, like, there was a lot. Some of the stuff that he talked about, they delivered, but there was a lot of stuff that just didn't happen. And I don't know if it
he's like the classic case of developer not being able to achieve his vision due to hardware constraints.
yeah, exactly. But Slow-Mo, we had, like, I remember, like people talk to you, why'd you buy an Xbox? I'm like, Peter Molyneux and Project Evil or whatever it's called, or like, and all that. You can, like, make these choices. You can step on an acorn, the tree will grow, or you can punch a dog in its face and will come back and bite you in the ass 2 days later. I mean, like, there was all these, like, things that we were so hyped about as, like, owners of the Xbox platform. And B Money, you probably remember a lot of these things too. It was, so I never thought about not just Fable being a graphical powerhouse per se, right? But with the beast of this console, maybe delivering in some of the vision that Peter had for this franchise, finally, at least, because now they can do it. They have the capability to do it now because the hardware is so much more advanced than the OG Xbox, like 19 years ago, right? Yeah. So I think that's a great point, OBM. And it's I never thought about that. But I will say this, I do think that they do need to, I mean, outside of Halo, Forza, and Fable, and I think more is riding on Fable, because I think we know what to expect from Halo. Well, maybe not from Halo Infinite, because who knows how that's going to pan out. But we know what Forza is going to be like. But I think with Fable could be like that one thing, even though it's a franchise that Microsoft has touched, it's not new. There's been a period of time where, since the 360 or whatever, since there's been a good Fable game. Well, I wouldn't say Fable 3 was really, it was okay. Not as good as Fable 2, in my opinion, but there's an opportunity, I think, for Microsoft to really tap into that nostalgia and really do something special here with that franchise. And maybe, like you said, OBM, deliver it in some of those things that Peter talked about 19 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So, anyhow, I think. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, OBM.
No, like I said, I'd be disappointed if it's just a flat RPG, just a standard Fable, but prettier, or even with a different artistic design. I'd be disappointed. I think this is, if Microsoft's really going to get people to start looking at their platform, there's going to be so much content out there over the next few years, and from Sony, and you're going to see all these barriers to getting into these platforms lowered. And I think things are going to get a little bit, it could be really, it's going to be really hard to get people's attention. And I think you have to do things that nobody else has done that makes people just say, wow. And I don't know if that is cloud-based or whatever, but I think it has to be something, if you're going to, a game like Fable, I think has to have a God of War effect, but I think it also needs to be, even a little bit more than that. Maybe not from sales, but just from like, wow, I never saw that before in a game.
Well, I'll say this, OBM, and the one thing you mentioned about God of War, because God of War is one of those games. I think people after they beat it, they talked about it for quite some time. I just finished The Last of Us 2, and I'm not gonna give away any spoilers, but like they don't have that game. And again, this is not, I'm not saying that Xbox sucked, because anytime you say this, people get they get their panties in a bunch, but they don't have that game that says that, like The Last of Us 2. I beat the game almost a week ago. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still processing it. It had such a profound impact on me, even after I beat it, that I'm still and like, to me, like, that's the beauty of art. And there's people that don't like The Last of Us Part 2, but they're having healthy discord about what they like versus what they didn't like, and people are talking about this. And I think that's the power of art, and gaming is an art form where you can kind of create that conversation, whether you agree with it or don't agree with it. You're having some healthy discord around this, and I think that is what is lacking. The one thing that I feel like Microsoft, maybe at least from my experiences with the platform early on, OBM, is that I feel like Halo kind of had that, right, with the campaign. What you had this, and we talked about this last week on Brap. You had this emotional attachment with Cortana, with Master Chief. At least for me, like, that's kind of waned a lot, because it's just really hasn't connected with me on an emotional level. And I feel like Microsoft has, look, whether you agree with this or not, or I feel like they focus too much on that friend aspect of gameplay, that multiplayer aspect, where it's like, Xbox Live, you play with your friends, you have a good time, where it's become like that social media platform for gamers, which is fine to an extent, but I think you could offer a little bit of variety to an extent, where you could have those narrative compelling experiences and do the friends thing and everything else as well, which I think they did with the OG Xbox and the Xbox 360.
Yeah, I think they realize that. I think they, I feel like they have gaming people now in leadership that they never had that get that kind of stuff. But to kind of to your point, I don't think it's necessarily like single player versus multiplayer. I know a lot of people talk about that. I think it's just about being great or doing something that people haven't seen before, or that gets people talking. And we saw like Epic now is trying to compete with Steam because of Fortnite, which was a double A failed single player game, and then they turned it into something else. So it's like you can generate mind share so quickly now, and I think Game Pass and being on PC, and eventually, once we get into this 5G world, is going to give everybody. I think this is what's exciting about the whole industry. Really, it's not just a Microsoft thing; it's really the entire industry now. You can get everybody talking about something new pretty quickly if it's great, right? And it doesn't matter if it's multiplayer or single player. It just needs to be. I think you need to put your best people, give them autonomy to do their best things, and which is why I kind of agree with their being a little more hands-off-ish, because I don't trust any of their executives know what great is, or at least not the ones that they had in charge before. Of trying to step in there and tell these these developers, like, scale down, hey, we need you to force in there a co-op, and then they break the game, that kind of stuff. So I think like we really need to just see step back and be great, and then see, and eventually, like, what I'm hoping to see, I expect to see coming out of the July thing, is that we're going to say, we're finally going to see competition. We've I know, like, people have been saying, oh, it's good to have these multiple companies out here because it creates competition, which is good for all of us. But I like 2017, after that E3, I remember telling a bunch of people, I was like, I really hope Microsoft sells now, because, and they're like, well, what about like the competition? I'm like, this is not competition. This is like, remember when we were like kids watching WWF on Saturday morning, and Ultimate Warrior would come in there, would just come in there, and he just power slam, some nobody, and run out of there. It's like that's what this was. It wasn't competition. Like, there was nothing Microsoft was doing that was pushing Sony to do anything. So I believe what we're going to see is different competitive advantages, and I'm losing my voice, but different competitive advantages and see real competition. And I think the entire industry is going to get pretty exciting here in the next few years.
Well said, OBM. Beeman, I want to get you in the conversation, man. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yo, it's funny that OBM brings up the real competition thing, because I could have swore I said that not too long ago, with the boys getting ready to fight this time, and I think this time the gloves is ready, and they're gonna get in that ring and they're gonna really battle it out. I think July is gonna be really important for them. Hopefully, they do show up, with first party in a big way. Sony, I believe, had 9 first party published games. So hopefully, they Microsoft either matches that or exceeds that as far as the first party content and the second party stuff. They will have some third party stuff there, and I feel like they're gonna have a pretty decent indie presence as well. So I hope that they do take a bit of time though to kind of do some deep dives with their first party teams. We've had some high anticipation for what the initiative's working on, what Playground's working on, whether that's Perfect Dark or Fable or whatever those games come out to be. Ninja Theory kind of announced some games earlier this year. We know Rare's working on Everwild, so we know some of the stuff. We just kind of have to see it fleshed out a little bit. And I think if they do it the right way, people should be pretty excited after the show.
Yeah, it's interesting what you guys were saying in terms of competition. I mean, I think that's it's funny. Like a lot of people give us a lot of shit for being critical of Microsoft, but we do it out of love, right? Yeah, because we know that. Sure. Yeah,
you should have heard me in 2017. I was ahead of the pack. I was able to kind of throw up my, go through my what is it, the morning after shots of drinking the Microsoft Kool-Aid for all them years, and I'm like, I just had it and threw it all up back in 2017. I got back on board though once I got rid of Myers, and I thought that was a big part of the problem.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Yeah. But you be what you said, man, about the competition, man. I mean, I think that's so true. Like, we want to see that level of competition because it benefits us as gamers, right? When they can push each other, in terms of content, features, things like that. It's not just features, by the way, everyone. The one thing that kind of worries me with the Xbox community is that they always talk about features. Features are great, but it's content. Content's always king. And it always has been. So
let me ask you guys something real quick though.
Yeah.
Would you guys be opposed to Fable being like MMO light?
No.
I don't know.
I don't even know what that looks like. I could see it being a little bit of both. I'm wondering if they're going to try to do some sort of Destiny-ish type thing with that.
Oh God, please no.
No.
But where I'm saying, like, where you have a game and then you have.
We talked about this on Prime Time, and it was like I'm so over every game trying to copy every game to be this game that has to give you this 100-hour experience just to.
But Forte, that happens a lot in the industry, though, man.
I know that, but that is also part of the problem. That's why Sean Layton came out and said what he said about not having to have what happened to the 15-hour experience, and that's why a lot of these games are taking 5-6 years to make because they're padding out the games to actually give them more substance.
Did you see what Matt said about that though?
Yeah, but that's what people want.
He said that's sustainable.
It is. Well, okay. Let me ask you this though: Is it sustainable? Okay, I can only speak for me because there are a lot of people out there, but there are people out there that buy that game that's 100 hours to them. They only play that one game. Destiny's that game for me. Call of Duty could be that game for some other people. Madden and NBA is that game for some other people. People don't buy those games though. The 15-hour experience. Are you serious? Wait. They do buy those games.
No, Forte. I'm not saying they don't buy. What I'm saying is that according to NPD, they don't. Okay, obviously they do there, but it's not a mass. It's not what I think what MPD was saying was that it's not those 15 to 20 hour experiences. Like there's not enough people to sustain that. I think I'm paraphrasing what he.
It depends on how good the game is, though. I mean, Last of Us did sell 4 million copies, and it sold 4 million copies in 3 days. That's not sustainable.
Well, no. The Last of Us 2 is not a 20-hour game.
Wait. I also remember Tomb Raider.
The Last of Us Part 2 is not a 20-hour game, though.
Well, it still falls in that same window.
It still falls in that same window as a game that's not over 100 hours long. But you got to even think about it. Even games like Tomb Raider. Remember when Ubisoft came out? Not Ubisoft. Square Enix came out and said that it didn't perform up to expectations for the definitive edition, and it sold 7 million copies. And it bombed. You telling me that game was a 15-hour? Could I beat it? It was like 15 to 16 hours. I beat it on Steam. That was a 16-hour game. And it sold 7 million copies. You telling me that's not sustainable? It's just it's like everybody wants to be Grand Theft Auto. I mean, sorry, you can't be Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto has a fan base that does nothing but play that game. You can't be Destiny because it's just people that play just that game. Call of Duty's in the same reason. Like that's why you play so much Warzone, because when you play Call of Duty, that's what you're expecting to go into and play.
So real quick, I want to quote what Matt, our good friend Matt Patel from MPD said. He said regarding 10 to 15 hour games, he said, only way this works is if subscription services become dominant. 10 to 15 hour games just don't sell in the quantities to pay for 2 to 3 years of development. I like this too. That's not how people spend their money on gaming anymore.
I just think it's just the fact that the games that have such a bloated playtime on them just happens to be the ones that are always in the mainstream. So those are always the ones that always people are talking about. But like Sekiro what was that? How many games was Sekiro? Was it like 20 hours?
No, it was like 35 to 40 hours.
35, 40. So that was one of those games that's on the cut. But that's another thing. That's a game.
But Matt's talking about 10 to 15 hours, by the way. So I mean, that's
I think it also just speaks to a game like, okay, so when I from what I took from what Sean Layton was saying, it's more of, we don't have to have games that are everlasting. It doesn't have to be this game that you go back to and play for like the next 10 years every day and do the same things over and over again. It needs to be an experience that is crafted for you to go. It has a beginning and a end. And that's what it needs to be. Now, he prefers it to be a 10 to 15 hour game because that's for his playtime. That's when he knows he can get through more games. So he's speaking for himself when it comes to that. But I think in general, once you start getting all these games that are like 40 and 50 hours plus, people just tune out. It's like you only have so much of those you can play. Like, I love the Division 1. I put over 500 hours in Division 1. But when Division 2 came out, I bought it day one and couldn't get into it because I just started. I was playing Destiny. I'm trying to play Division, and I'm like, I ain't got time for this. Slow-mo knows like Slow-mo. He loves Division, and he looks at it like, if this game was better, he probably would spend more time on it. But it's not.
Yeah, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to give some context of what Sean Layden said.
Yeah, go ahead.
Layden in this interview with Game Industry Biz was talking about. He was recalling the days of $1 million production budgets, which I remember those days for the biggest games on the market, and referred to a commonly stated theory that the cost of development has doubled with every new generation of consoles, which we've all heard about. And Sean says, and in quotes, the problem with that model is it's just not sustainable. He said that explaining that the current generation has seen the cost of development reach between $80 million to $150 million for most AAA games, excluding marketing costs, with production taking up to 5 years from start to finish. He says, I don't think that in the next generation you could take those numbers and multiply them by 2 and think you can grow. I think the industry as a whole needs to sit back and go, all right, what are we building? What's the audience expectation? What is the best way to get to our story across and say what we need to say? And then he says it's hard for every adventure game to shoot for the 50 to 60 hour gameplay milestone because that's going to be so much more expensive to achieve.
Yeah.
In the end, you may close some interesting you may close some interesting creators and their stories out of the market if that's the kind of threshold they have to meet. We have to reevaluate that. So that is what Matt was talking about with regards to that 15-hour experience. Where he's like, yeah, that works in I guess in a subscription model, maybe not in what he said. Well, Matt says is the only way that works if the subscription service becomes dominant. 10 to 15-hour games just don't sell in the quantities to pay for 2 or 3 years of development. So what Matt's saying is he's offering a counter. He's saying, yeah, you know what, Sean? Yeah, that sounds great, but in terms of that 2 to 3 year development period, those 10 to 50-hour games don't sell enough to make up that development cost.
Well, it just depends on what the budget of the game is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because like whatever it costs for them to make Cyberpunk, I guarantee, you know what I mean, if only 3 million people bought the game, they're not gonna make the money back.
They're not gonna make the money back.
You know what I mean? Like, so it depends on the cost of the development of the game and the people who have interest in that game. Yeah, that's what that really boils down to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some genres where 10 to 15 hours ain't enough. Period.
Right, exactly.
Like if the game is designed to be played for well, longer than that. Fighting games, looter shooters, battle royale games. Those games aren't designed to be played for just 10 to 15 hours. Now you're talking. Now I understand Sean Layden is he's thinking from the perspective of someone who coming out of Sony and the kind of games that they made that would make a lot more sense for them, from your publishing arm. Right. But they didn't make all kinds of other games. No one wants an RPG that's 15 hours long.
Right.
That's just not what people look for. And when you look for those kind of games, like there are some people that they're overjoyed to see a Persona game over 100 hours in the first playthrough. And some other people, as soon as they hear that many hours is needed to finish the game, they go check out and look at something else. It's all about what you're looking for. So that works for some kinds of games, but just not all.
Well, so like if we take Mafia 3, for example, Mafia 3 could have got right to the story and it would have been a better game. Mm-hmm. But they gave you all that bullshit to go these side stories and stuff that really didn't matter, all just back and forth nonsense. And it ruined the game. Now, if they would have made the story more concise, made the game, a little bit shorter, got right to the point, people would have probably enjoyed that game a little bit more. They could have cut down on development costs, and they could have probably recouped a little bit more money on that. Mm. So it just depends on the actual game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like games that challenge you and stuff like that. Like, that's why I think Bloodborne is one of the best games, because that game, you can beat it really fast if you are skilled enough to go through that game without going through the upgrade trees and leveling and overpowering your character, because 90% of that game's length is you farming and grinding stuff to be able to be strong enough to basically be comfortable enough to go in and fight all the different bosses. But if you're good enough, you can beat that game really, really quick, like blisteringly fast, quick for a Souls type game. I think that is like the other medium where they built the game that could be adjusted in length to actually depending on your skill level. But like I agree with Slow-Mo, every game Grand Theft Auto isn't going to be less than 100 hours, because when you put the online on top of it, online is going to bloat it out of commission. Call of Duty, on the other hand, when they have a single player, that's why their single player is like 5 to 6, 7 hours, and the meat and the potatoes of the game is in the multiplayer, and that's where people put over 100 hours in. Titanfall, one of the best single players, first person shooters I've played pretty much ever, was like a 7 to 8 hour campaign. And it was very enjoyable. There was no bloat in there. I was completely enjoying the story. And if you want to dive in and play more of it and go to the multiplayer, that's fine. But so many games try to keep you in their like Assassin's Creed. They try to keep you there for no apparent reason. It's like, just let me get through the game. Like you're
talking about engagement, Forte.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
engagement.
Yeah.
Look, Bungie does the same thing, and I hate it. They literally have seasons that literally last for 3 months, and we can literally finish everything in what, like a month, maybe not even that long. You can probably finish it in 2 weeks. So they do the same thing. So all these developers are kind of at fault for it, but at least their business model being a shared world shooter kind of lends to them having that type of model. But when you got a single player game, and I ain't gonna throw shade because I haven't beat Last of Us yet, but I'm at that part where that side quest is like 10 hours long, and I'm like, bro, this don't need to be this long. I understand the story and understand the direction you're trying to go in telling this story, but dude, I don't need to do this. This could be cut in half. They don't need to be 10 hours long.
No, you got to do that quest.
No,
you have to.
I think that's not a side quest.
Yeah, that's not a side quest. That's the main story. I do also think that the reason why it feels like it's a side quest is due to the structure of the narrative in that game, and that's
probably what it is. The structure of the narrative isn't doing the game any justice, so it makes you feel like you're doing stuff that you don't want to do.
Right, and it's usually because you're. Yeah, I don't want to.
No, we can't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything.
Soon, guys, spoiler cast coming up soon.
Enrique, I think you said the right word though. You said engagement, and I think that's really with these corporations to make their money back. Part of their business model. It's not just sell you the copy, and I think that's where VR struggles, right? Because just because you sell a copy doesn't mean it doesn't mean you're doing well, because it's that engagement that keeps the leg, keeps those games in the mind share, and then you get those the sales have legs, and then you have more chance for a sequel. So we're really kind of competing over our time, and I think that's where the struggle is with AA. And I really think the only way you're going to overcome that, because I full transparency, I like short games. I liked Odyssey for 20 hours, and I just couldn't do it anymore. Right. So I really wish there was a get to the point mode in every single game. Like just get to the crux of it. But I think where you can, that's what really kind of is exciting me over even though the Mace show wasn't really good for Microsoft, and then seeing a lot of those indies in Sony show, like if you went back and research, a lot of those games that were really good looking actually were from small teams. Like I saw, like Kenya was 15-person team. The Descent, which was like my favorite game from Microsoft, show was an 11-person team. I think you're going to get like the rising quality of the indies, like with their tools and also just now they've had a generation to grow. I think the whole indie thing is kind of newish. That whole that digital indie is really only in the last decade. So a lot of these studios, I think, will be able to get to provide that, and then for them getting those types of games to get any mind share. And I think that's subscriptions. I think Matt's right. The subscription model is probably some of the best chance for them to get that exposure. Something like a Sobo's Plague's Tale or something. Like that's a game I would have never bought, but now I discovered it. I'm like,
that's a great example, by the way. OBM. That's a great game on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's a real good game, and it's like, what is that? It's not a super long game. It's kind of limited, in terms of all the things you can do, but it's a really engaging, vision. And I think, for me personally, I'll be buying the sequel when it comes out day one.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, are you finished? If you keep going, if you're not.
No, go ahead, man.
No, I didn't want to cut you off, but I think the one thing that people, and this probably speaks to why Game Pass is so important to Xbox and just the philosophy and the way they think about things now around engagement. So like when it comes to you selling a game, when you sell that game, yeah, it's a sale. Like not Grand Theft Auto, but yeah, Grand Theft Auto sold over 1 million. I mean, over 100 million actually. But you got like Last of Us, the last one that part 2 came out, 4 million in the first 3 days. That's a really good number. But what happens to that number a year from now? It will go up. It'll probably cap out around 8 or 9 million by the time. It might even get that high. I don't know. But it's going to cap out at a higher number than it's at right now. But what is that doing for the platform at that moment when like 4 years from now. I mean, that's just an arbitrary number that they just so that they could celebrate with their fan base. But how is it really helping them on the platform at that moment? When it comes to when it comes to services like Game Pass, Xbox can literally always count engagement on that platform. They're looking at this platform like, whenever we put something new in here, this is how many people we have. It's not a game that they're promoting. They're promoting a service that has games in it. And they're always can go with those numbers and say, this is what our active engagement on this game was. This is because of Game Pass. Game Pass this, Game Pass that. Hey, developer, put your game in Game Pass because these are the amount of people that are active in that environment that are actually playing the games in that service. I could ask all you guys, other than The Last of Us, when's the last time most of us picked up our PlayStation? Like, we all play PlayStation, but how often do we pick up our PlayStation compared to playing on our PCs or playing on our Xbox? And that's the question that everybody, unless you're a stark Sony fan and all you do is play on your PlayStation.
Sir, I play 2K every day.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know you play 2K
I think
every day.
Look, so I think that's a little too subjective.
No, because there's a lot of people. Because I can name a few people that are like that.
But
they're not console agnostic. They have both, but they tend to play most of the games on one platform, though.
But they're gonna go where their friends are, I think, with that. It's kind of hard to gauge. I mean, like for the
purpose of it.
But
I think there are more people
not the best
out
examples
there
of that,
who
though,
are
Forte.
PlayStation and PC.
Than
Xbox and PC.
No, they are, but that's the thing I'm saying, though.
Are you describing me, Slow-Mo?
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing I'm saying, though. You'll have people like me and like Cognito that are PC and Xbox, but we own PlayStations and we only really play our PlayStation when those hot new games come out. But in between those hot new games, our PlayStation is just sitting there. We got to go over there, get the duster, and blow it off because we ain't turned it on in a while. You know, that's just how that's just literally how it is. But then you got people like E and B Money, they play 2K every day on a PlayStation. So they're not the case. So they always are counted as a benefit of being on that system, where Xbox literally every month, because you got to think, every month Sony's not coming out with a banger. But every month, Xbox got new games coming in and out of that service, and that's why they're pushing a service, because the active user base is what they're actually trying to, dive deep on.
Okay,
but that's
Forte, you do realize
the service though, because
you do realize
users that are on PlayStation Network.
They do.
You do realize there are far more people. Hold on for a second.
But people want to play. But this is the thing. We always complain about playing games and stuff.
No. What I'm about to say is that you do realize there are far more people who are like B and E than like you and Lord Cognito, where you only boot up your PlayStation to play exclusives.
But there's probably more people in a service than people that buy those individual games. That's all.
But I'm saying those people who don't buy the individual games are still using PlayStation Network, so they're playing games on there regardless.
But you're talking about you're talking about a network versus a service that has game. The network you could just be on. You could be watching Netflix and be on the network. I'm talking about a service that is based around games that people are playing, that they count, that come out every month, versus a service where you got just the people on. Like this, I'm not talking about Xbox Live. If we were talking about Xbox Live, then you're absolutely right. They're basically counting users versus users at that point, but they're counting literally the user base of people engaging with games on their platform. That's what they're counting versus
that's the reason why you can check the most popular games on the service. They check those analytics as well.
No, I know they do, and that's what I'm saying. But when they can go to somebody and say, this is how many games the people are downloading in this service, and this is how many people are in this service in general, that is enticing to a lot of developers out there that want to put their games in a service like that. Then, like he said, like a lot of the smaller indie games that they showed at that April event that probably wouldn't have got eyes on their games if they weren't in that service. They probably would have got lost in the shuffle about a bunch of other things. And like I said, this is just I'm not saying this is the end be all of the conversation for them. I'm just saying this is a part of the conversation of why Microsoft counts numbers in the way that they count them, because they're looking at the engagement that the platform is getting through games through a service, versus PlayStation counts them as the service of being online plus the games that people are buying, which are, you know, and they're going to have more because they have a bigger install base overall. So it's just two different ways of having the same conversation. Neither one is wrong. It just comes down to which one actually speaks to you more. If you buy more of your games, you're going to tend to be more with what Sony's doing because they're making more experiences that you actually want to go out and buy, versus if you're a person that just wants to try games off and on and you don't have a really big budget, you might go to play Xbox because you could just literally get in for a real low price and have access to hundreds and hundreds of games that you could play as much as you want, and both of those work for whichever party wants to use them. So that's the biggest thing that people need to realize. It's not a right or wrong thing. It just comes down to which platform wants to do it the best.
I think you're both right from just coming from different perspectives, because you think about like the example of NBA 2K that you engage on the PlayStation all the time. You know, that's a game you can buy anywhere, right? And that's a game that, you know, eventually you'll be able to buy that on, you know, whatever, Stadia or, you know, whatever the hell is out there. So what these companies need to do, and this really goes back to maybe Enrique's first point with Fable, is like, you got to figure out what's that exclusive shiny thing that drives people to your platform, but also keeps them there. Because if you're coming back, let's just say like, and I, you know, I'm not saying I hope this or anything like that, but let's just say Fable has, after you beat the single player, there's stuff you can keep doing. There's some way to keep you engaged, you know, like Forza Horizon, and you just keep coming back every day, and you and your friends are there. Well, now you're engaged with that platform. They're running those ads all the time at you, and now you're like, well, maybe I'll just buy my NBA 2K here instead, especially like with crossplay, right? Because I think that friends argument's probably, I think Sony really did Microsoft a solid when they gave in on that crossplay thing, because really, you know, that may not be a thing that forces you to go to a platform, or at least engage in a platform primarily, you know, 2-3 years from now. You know, I think that's a short-term thing, and we're seeing more and more, you know, developers that are enabling crossplay, and I think that pretty much the dam's broken on that thing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, those are some great points. Real quick, because I get the super chat from T Rock 40, says with the $5 super chat, thank you. Says just stopping in to show some support and apologize for blowing up Slow-Mo Backslap's Twitter this morning. So,
what did you do? What did you do this morning, Slow-Mo?
Let's see. The tweet that I retweeted about Cyberpunk removing the wall running because you know, older consoles weren't able to implement that, you know, and have it run efficiently. Essentially,
cut them old consoles off. God damn it!
Yeah, you know,
if you ain't got the money, oh well.
Yeah, I got a shit for saying that this week.
Yeah, he said something about scaling, and then people got upset. So but hey, you know, no need to apologize, T-Rock. My timeline was my mentions were on fire all day due to various reasons.
They were for various reasons. So while we all Cyberpunk real quick, anybody that, if you get lucky enough to win one of these giveaways for that RTX 2080 God's gift, all gaming gods right now, if you get a chance to win one, sell it. It's literally going for $5,000 on eBay. I literally looked today. It's like 9 of them on there that sold
5,000.
There's, if you go to eBay right now and search 2080 Ti Cyberpunk Edition, there's like 10 of them that sold in like the last 2 weeks. That literally all sold for $5,000 or higher.
I believe it, man.
So if you get one, brother, as much as you want to keep that beautiful thing and put it in your PC or keep it on a shelf, don't do it. Save that.
Put it in the pocket.
Sell that thing as fast as you can and save the money for the 3080. Build a new PC with that money. Build a new PC with all that money you're gonna get off that thing. So if you see those, if they start doing those retweet things today, make sure you retweet.
Oh, I do it. Yeah, every time I see it, I do it. So yeah, wow, 5Gs, that's a lot, man. Real quick, guys, we do have to wrap up the show. Big shout out to everyone in the live chat, by the way. Thank you guys for stopping by, hanging out with us. And big shout out to my man, One Bad Mother OBM. Dude, it was great having you on, man. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It was fun.
Yeah.
Appreciate you letting me ramble on like that.
You know what's great, man, is that it's cool. It's like we met on Xbox Live like 20 years ago, and here we are 20 years later, older but wiser, and we're still talking video games, man. I think that's really awesome. Yeah. So, yeah,
older,
man.
wiser, on the brink of the zombie apocalypse. Still talking video games.
That's the advantage that we have playing video games. We know what to prepare for, right? Yep. We gotta get scissors. We gotta get baseball bats and alcohol containers, paper. Basically what I'm saying is crafting items, and your car is not safe if I'm in the neighborhood and the apocalypse hits, because I'm going to be like Deacon St. John. I'm popping your hood. I'm making a silencer out your air filter. It's going to happen. So, but man, it was great having you on OBM. Seriously, man, we always appreciate it. Got to get you back on again soon, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And give outros to the rest of the panel here. My man, Gaming Forte. Please check out this man's last video. It was really great. Subscribe to his channel. Support my man, Forte. Let everyone know where they can find you, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate it, man. It's Gaming Forte on YouTube, gaming_Forte on Twitter. Check us out every Friday over at the Crossfire with Mooch and them. Saturdays with the lovely Ash and Luca. Hopefully she does the thing at 4 o'clock and not 1 o'clock, because I missed half the show last time. And Mondays with Mr. Boomstick XL for prime time. And be on the lookout for those stealth streams, man. We've been streaming a lot, man. Slow-mo's been coming through so we can have conversations on stuff that's happening. So follow the YouTube and the Twitter for information around that type of stuff. You guys have a great week. Be safe for the 4th of July.
Woo!
Make sure you stay covered up and have a beer with your neighbor. That's all. You guys have a good week.
Facts, Forte.
6 feet apart, though.
6 feet. 6 feet. 6 feet. Dougie Fresh, we're on. All right. B Money. Let everyone know they can find you, sir.
Yeah, man. You can find me everywhere. Same name. B Money 101. Appreciate everybody coming through, man. We'll see y'all next week.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, B, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on The Last of Us Part 2, man.
Yeah, man. How close am I?
Where you at right now?
Where you at?
I'm saving the kids, man. Saving the kids.
Saving the kids.
He's about 70%, 65 to 70%.
Yeah, probably 60%. Yeah. You got a couple more hours to go, man.
All right.
Yeah, the game will feel like it's over a couple of times before you get to the end. So don't worry.
That is true. This is true. This is true. What am I
complaining? Man. This is just like watching a TV show, man.
Hey, have you guys seen some of the videos, the combat videos that people were doing with The Last of Us?
Dude, there's one where they were fighting in the house.
Yo.
I was like, yo, bro. Like, the person did a backslide and threw a Molotov at somebody, bro.
You could do that. I did that.
I did not know you could do that when I saw it. I was trying yeah, dude. He was literally standing up and did a slid backwards on the ground and threw a Molotov at one of the enemies and stuff. I was like, whoa.
You basically like do a run like a sprint and then hit the slide button, but you got to do it in a way where your position where you could kind of slide back on your back. Because if you're not careful, you'll slide forward into the enemy on your back. You don't want to do that, but it can be done. It's crazy. The best part is this like,
multiplayer is gonna be very wild.
I can't wait.
Yeah, people will be doing all kinds of stuff like that.
All I know is
you see the video where she shoots the guy, she throws a bottle at him, caps the dude in the knee.
Oh yeah.
Then melees him and then jumps and is gutting from the sky. I'm like, yo, like I knew about the capping and the body parts. Like you do that and throwing like bottles and bricks at people. And my favorite is feeding. If you can stealth grab enemy AI, and feed them to clickers. Oh, that's great.
Look, man, when they first showed that extended reveal of the gameplay, my feedback, I said it here on Brap. I said the first thing that excited me the most was the level of care that they took to that gameplay.
Yes.
Because remember, we all said, because everybody was like, when they first showed it the first time, like a couple years ago, everybody was looking at her throw the bottles and stuff. Was like, oh, is that scripted? Is that part of the game? No one really knew. And then they showed it in the trailer, and we was like, oh no, that's part of the game. And then when you were able to do it yourself in games, I was like, bro, this is next level. That's why a lot of people are so torn on how to feel about this game, because the story probably doesn't do the justice that it needs. But dude, the gameplay is like unbelievable.
Yeah, it's look, I understand the story aspect of things, but at least in my opinion, and if you want to get my insight into The Last of Us Part 2, tune into tomorrow's Last of Us Part 2 spoiler cast. But I do think, and look, it's not, I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10. It's not a perfect game. There's some things that I have issues with that I'll talk about tomorrow, but yeah, that combat is just fucking solid. But like,
I love running into all the characters with the big hammers.
Oh
yeah.
I call them Big Bertha and Big John. Every time I run into them, man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I hit him with the shoddy in the knees. It's done.
I do love that about that aspect, because there was the part that you see in the initial trailer. Don't you know the initial trailer that some developers thought was all scripted? Yeah. There's only essentially one scripted part of it, and that's when a guy comes out, the last enemy comes out. And how you handle that. I mean, you can just go all melee with that fight and let it be really like, dodging and cutting and all that stuff. I just so happened to have my shotgun out when dude ran up on me, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna treat you like Indiana Jones. Wow. Straight to the head.
Like Halo Infinite.
Fight is over. Most of the time when I ran to those scenes, except for there's a couple of moments where that you definitely don't have the weapons to or sometimes it's just stuff is scarce. You don't have your gun with you, or you may have lost it or whatever, and you may have to fight it out with whatever you got on you. But fortunately for me, a lot of the times around those situations, I just so happen to have the most most OP weapon I had on me at the time. Was just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna bother.
Wow!
Take the shotgun to the chin, homie.
Take this.
Yo, that shoddy's nice, man.
Yeah, I do love those moments where you're in a room and you're being hunted by an enemy, and there's clickers in there. Because that's when I just go, oh, you guys done messed up. I get that Molotov out. And I'm just waiting for them to be like 2 or 3 of them to be close enough. And I'm just lobbing at them, hit them. They start screaming. The clickers start running. And I'm just watching. I'm like, let me get my popcorn out and see who survives from this.
Slow-mo, there is nothing more satisfying than feeding someone the clickers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
When you do that, eat them. Take it.
Well, somebody asked me in a tweet, it was like, if you kill somebody, like they said they were trying to do sections where
by the way, we can't spoil this for OBM, by the way.
Yeah. Somebody asked me, they was like, if you can you go through sections without killing enemies? I said, yeah, you can definitely do it. And then somebody asked, he said, well, if you feed clickers, like people to clickers, does that count against your kill count? I was like, technically it doesn't, because you're not the one that killed them.
Yes. Although there are a lot of times there are times where you can get past certain, especially open areas, without killing people. But then there are also other times where you're in a building and there's clickers around and you're trying to be quiet and not alert them to your presence, and then have to deal with a whole bunch of them all at once, where you can find the exit, but to open it, it's like there's stuff blocking the door behind.
Thing ever.
It's just like it's pitch silence, and then and everyone goes, "What is that?"
You better get those shanks ready.
oh, hey,
It was like when you were in the warehouse and stuff, and you had that door that you had to open with the chain. As soon as I walked up to the door, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna make a lot of noise."
Exactly,
done on purpose. Yeah,
right. So I after a while, after multiple times of me trying to open it and then getting attacked and then running and then waiting for them to calm down, then trying to go back and open it a little bit more, I could say, you know what? All right, how do I set this up? Because I'm just gonna have to kill all y'all.
Because they'll come from rooms that because if you like, especially if you in like early rooms, you started them in one room, they all come from the other rooms, and next thing you know, you thought it was only 3, there's like 12.
Yeah, it's true. It's like they come out of the woodwork. Yeah. So look, I don't want to spoil it for OBM because he's gonna play it this weekend. But Slow-Mo Backslap, Slow-Mo Damas, man, please let everyone know where they can find you, man.
You can find me at my own YouTube channel called Slow-Mo Backslap, and you can also find me on Twitter with the same name. I do most of my videos, if you don't know, that are mostly like indie titles. Any titles that I think are good.
Grounded. Where's the grounded video?
You heard what I just said, right? I just
caveat in there like a week.
The caveat. Indie titles that I think are good. I'm not just doing indie anything. Okay.
But you haven't played Grounded though, so
I don't care. It does not look good. Therefore, I will not do it. I also do videos on other games that I'm enjoying and playing. I need to get back to that as well.
Forte, what did your poll say last week?
Videos. Forget that poll. I don't do as many videos on games that I play as much as I used to. I don't know why. I just don't really feel like recording when I'm playing.
Slow-Mo, do you watch other people play games and then make up reviews?
So what? So I can hear you.
He said, "Do you watch other people play games then make reviews on them?"
No, that's why my reviews are very scarce because it's all about me playing the game.
Basically insinuating that you are basically reviewing and saying that Grounded is trash by looking at other people play it and saying that game's not interested. So you're not giving your own opinion.
I didn't give it a review.
You're using other people.
It looks like trash, and I won't have it on my channel. That's it.
But you're basing that on what you've seen from other
Is that a review?
No, but that's
okay. There you go.
but why can't? But
we all make decisions.
Look, man, it was 70%.
I don't see Enrique doing coverage on Bugsnax.
Well, that's not my shtick on my channel though. For Slow-Mo.
Well, Bugsnax ain't gonna be on my channel either. So look, I don't do.
Hey, at least you're consistent.
I am.
Hey, you know what? I'm
gonna
put up a poll. I'm gonna put up a poll for both Grounded or Bucks.
Do it.
There needs to be a third option.
Do it.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Do it right now. There needs to be a third option in there. Something good. The third option is something good.
Yeah, it's gonna be blood. What is it? I don't know.
I'm gonna find the most garbage game.
Yeah.
This reminds me of a really wise book I once read. It was called Green Eggs and Ham.
Oh,
you can't make a judgment until you try something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Slow-Mo, so people can find you your channel, Slow-Mo Backslap, and we're on Twitter.
Same name, Slow-Mo Backslap. I'm actually working on a video of The Last of Us Part 2. I finished the audio, and geez, it's up to 19 minutes. So I do have a lot to say. I didn't realize I had that much to say until I was all done. But my full thoughts are in that, and I should hopefully have it out tomorrow at some point.
What was the counter on that? What was the audio level? What was the audio time on it before you went in and start editing it?
All right, look, hey,
24.
That's the question. You took 5 minutes of audio out of it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. All right. So look, tomorrow night, we're gonna talk about we're gonna have the BRAP Last of Us Part 2 spoiler cast. It's gonna be me, Slow-Mo Backslap, Eric Jackson, Jay Barry, the Drunk Cat, Al Aka Holocaust, and Eric Cuts for the win. And we're gonna have a lot to say about the Last of Us Part 2. It's gonna be an honest discussion about this game, so you definitely want to check that out. I'll have the link up 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, tomorrow night.
So, yeah, tomorrow night. Yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Forte has been kind enough to make that awesome thumbnail, which, by the way, Forte looks great.
It does look amazing.
Yeah, it looks pretty badass. So thank you, Forte.
You're welcome.
And so definitely check that out tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I'm gonna tell you why it looks amazing, Enrique.
What's that?
Because I did it for him.
Oh wow! Oh, okay. Click. Okay.
Here we go.
I gotta get him back for always saying he was editing my videos. So I'm making his thumbnails. There you go.
I get you. Yeah.
You know what? Everybody in the chat right now, if you make YouTube videos, go holler at Slow Mo Backslap. He makes the best.
Wow.
He makes the best thumbnails on YouTube. Hit him up. Hit him up.
$50 a thumbnail though.
Yeah, $50. Jesus.
I think I priced myself out of the market.
Yeah, you did. You priced yourself out of the market. On that note, guys, we are out. Please look, I'll drop the link tomorrow morning for the Last of Us, for the BRAP Last of Us Part 2 spoiler cast, which goes live tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please definitely come out, hang out with us, check that out. And we'll catch you guys next week for the regular BRAP, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'll see you guys next time. Enjoy your 4th of July holiday in the U.S. and be safe. Seriously, be safe. Social distance, wear masks. The science says this shit works. Do it. And then we're out. Peace.
Peace.